Hello, welcome to Break Off here at the Motorpoint Arena. After 5 days of action, we are down to the one table setup. It's a scintillating semi-final Saturday and there are 4 players in with a chance of BetVictor Welsh Open glory. We've got the Belgian teenage sensation Luca Bracel, John Higgins, 3 times a Welsh Open champion, hoping to recapture glories of the past. Ben Wollaston into his first ever ranking event semi-final, and then the homegrown hero Mark Williams bidding for his first appearance in a Welsh Open final for 12 years. It is without any shadow of a doubt the kind of weekend to set your pulse racing.
I flick the switch on the generator so I can turn you on. You better get to know your operator before you crack.
And so to the first of our 2 semi-finals, John Higgins up against Luca Bracel, Scotland against Belgium, and what a match it turned out to be. Higgins raced to a 2-frame advantage, then Luca Bracel won 3 in a row. Remember, he came from 2-0 behind to beat Mark Selby and 3-0 behind to beat Ricky Walden, but then the Wizard of Wishaw rallied. He produced 3 centuries in a cracking encounter, eventually closing out the win 6 frames to 4 to book his first place in a ranking event final since June 2013. The pride of Scotland was back, and that's why he was so elated when I caught up with him after the match.
It means everything, because obviously you're doubting yourself and you're thinking, are you ever going to get back into a good setup and play good stuff? And it's happened this week. So no, I'm delighted. I'm delighted I played well in the semi-final there, and I think it was a good match for the public. I think Luca played very well as well, and it was just a couple of missed balls here or there that was a difference, but it was a good match to be involved in. The
Celts amongst the crowd would love to see you and Williams, you know, the two guys turning 40 once again, tussling for the big one.
Yeah, I mean, to be perfectly honest, it would be great to play Mark here, because he's obviously a local boy and the crowd would be up for it, and he'd have all the backing and things, and it would be great to play him. But he's got a tough game with Ben. As I said, Ben's coming on to play really good in the last maybe 6 or 7 months, and he'll be fancying now upsetting Mark tonight. But Mark played very well against Marco Fu, and he looks as if he's got the bit between the teeth as well, so I'll just enjoy watching it. But it would be a great occasion if I played Mark here.
Well, John Higgins absolutely delighted to get through to another big ranking event final. He's bidding to become the only man to win 4 Welsh Open titles. I'm joined here on the arena floor by Ivan Hershevitz, who's been loving the action over the last 5 and a bit days. Ivan, that was a fantastic match from both players.
Yeah, Higgins was superb. I mean, three big centuries, and he did what he used to do, which was to come good at the business end of the match. You know, Bracel put him under a lot of pressure when he came from 2-0 down, 3-2, and then at 4-4 the match was in the balance. But yeah, Higgins was just superb in those last 2 frames. But we were always going to have a great story either way, and it was nice of John to say a kind of positive message to Luca after the match, saying, you know, you're going to be back here, you're going to be around for a long time. He said he reminded him of Judd Trump, the way he played against him in that World Final in 11. So yeah, it was a fascinating contest today, but I think Higgins will be slight favourite for the final tomorrow, whoever he plays.
Let's just have a word about Luca Bracel, because there have been people saying within the snooker fraternity that a lot of the players still at the top are getting towards their 40s. Higgins and Williams turn 40 this year. Ronnie's 39. It's so important for the game to have a vibrant young star coming through, and Bracel looks as though he's absolutely back after his 18 months of basically being a teenager. He's a really hard-working professional again. He's a huge news for the sport.
Well, hopefully, yeah. I mean, he's still got a lot to prove. You know, this is just one semi-final. You know, he's got to do this consistently now. He's got to work hard on the practice table, take nothing for granted. But yeah, if he can do it, if he can make it towards the top, let's say if he can get into the top 16, he's got all the attributes to be a big star. You know, he plays a fast and attacking game. He's explosive. He's got a great personality, a little bit of cockiness, but in a good way. He seems like a bit of a character away from the table. So, and of course he's from Europe, which is as I was saying yesterday, is exactly what we need in the game. So yeah, I think fingers crossed, that he can keep it going and keep the momentum going that he showed this week.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully there'll be more great things to come from Luca Bracell. So John Higgins through to the Welsh Open final. We still have to talk about the second semi-final, Mark Williams against Ben Wollaston. But before we do that, here's the penultimate instalment in the Masterclass from the one and only Mark Johnston-Allen. And this one is about compiling the big breaks.
Hello and welcome once again to Mark's Masterclass. Today I'm going to focus on break building. You go to your club or your pub or you chat to your friends and you say, you play snooker, and the first thing they'll ask you is, what's your highest break? That's why everybody gauges what is your highest break. It could be 30, 40, it could be a century, it could be anything. But the key to making a break is keeping this cue ball in a really simple and safe place. So I'm going to give you a few tips and hopefully you can turn that 30 break into a 60 break. I'm on the black. I see it all the time, youngsters, whatever, just get down, hit the white and hope the cue ball goes somewhere where we've got a red, something available. They say that we think 3 shots ahead as pros. It's not strictly true because every time you play a shot, this never finishes exactly where you want it to finish. It could be out by an inch or 2. So you've got to adjust the situation, and I'll give you an example here. They won't play for 1 red. In that area there, I've got the choice of that one, that one, that one, or that one, depending on where the cue ball finishes, okay? Let's kick the cue ball back. Now, I overhit it, it still leaves me 1. I don't like the distance, I don't like the fact I've got to go up for the blue. That's a dangerous shot. But any one of these 3 are possible. So I'll look at them, decide which I think is the easiest to play, just dropping it in. Don't worry if I miss it, because that's perfect. Short gap is another easy pot to put the cue ball in that kind of area. Try and punch the white up. Play that one nicely. I still have this red. I've got that one and I've got that one. There's 4 reds to choose from. Still going happily on my merry way. So the key to making any sizable break is keeping everything absolutely simple, taking no risks, and you'll turn that 30 into a 60 in no time at all.
Well, thanks very much to the irrepressible Mark Johnston-Allen. He'll be back with a final masterclass on Super Sunday. Now, speaking of finals, we know that John Higgins is through to the big match, but which of the 2 players from the second semi-final would be joining him? Ben Wollaston from Leicester living the dream into his first ranking event semi-final, or we had Mark Williams soaking up the applause of the crowd and trying to wind back the clock. Remember, he was a double Welsh Open champion, but the last of those 2 titles came back in 1999, and he was bidding for his first appearance in a Welsh Open final for 12 years. Well, it turned out to be an absolutely brilliant match. It went all the way to a decider. Wollaston led 3-1 and 5-3. Mark Williams, who's just coming into the back of shot now, turn around, Mark Williams coming into the back of shot, took it all the way to a decider, but in the end, Ben Wollaston just getting over the line. Williams, a quick word from you. You were magnificent out there, just not quite meant to be.
Is this live?
No, but we're running it in a oneer. Ben, the biggest match of your life, the biggest stage you could perform on at this point in your career, and you were up to the job.
Yeah, I'm just delighted to win. Feel lucky and happy to get through to the final. Yeah.
3-1 and 5-3, and then all of a sudden, you know, you let him back in and it's at 5-all and you're up against a former double world champion who's got the support of the crowd. Did you start to think that maybe the tide had turned and it would be an agonising defeat?
I should have won the match 6-4. I was disappointed for a couple of minutes, but I just told myself that at the beginning of the match I'd have probably been happy with 5-all. I just tried to forget about that last frame to win 6-4, and luckily got my chance in the last frame.
So Ben Wollaston living the dream into the final. Ivan, all credit to Ben. It's going to be the biggest moment of his career tomorrow, but he must remember that he's got to try and win the match. He's not just there to enjoy the spectacle.
Yeah, I have to take a bit of credit because I lent Ben a tenner this morning just so he could buy breakfast, so otherwise he might not be here now. But yeah, it's a great story, you know. I mean, it's great to see one of the young lads coming through. The money had been so much to him, you know, even if he doesn't win the final. Obviously disappointment for the Welsh fans, you know, they would have liked to see Williams in the final, but it's fascinating tomorrow. You know, Higgins will be at start a massive favourite, but Wollaston will feel like he's got nothing to lose.
Well, it's a wonderful story if either of them win, because, you know, Higgins has had his tough times in the last 18 months, and it's an unbelievable story if Wollaston wins. It's going to be fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can't wait. I think in a way there's more pressure on Higgins because he feels what a great chance this is to win a ranking title for the first time since 2012. And he said this afternoon he'd rather have played Williams because, you know, he would have had the Welsh crowd against him and he might have enjoyed that. But yeah, as I said, Wollaston will in a way have less pressure on him. But yeah, it'll be fascinating.
Well, thanks very much, Ivan. Go and get some sleep. I know you'll need it. So there we are. It's the big one. Ben Wollaston, the slight outsider, but what a fantastic run he's had to the final. It's going to be the biggest occasion of his life against John Higgins, who's aiming for a piece of Welsh Open history, currently tied on 3 titles with Ronnie O'Sullivan and Stephen Hendry. But he could be out there on his own with 4. Don't miss one single ball. It's all live on BBC Wales and live on Eurosport. That's it for this edition of Breakoff. We will see you for Super Sunday Showdown. We're back at the Motorpoint Arena in just a few hours' time.